Hello, everyone. Welcome to Never Seen It, a podcast about movies that we haven't seen yet. I'm your host today, Betsy, and with me is Trent.
Welcome to the 90s.
I was gonna say that, but you got there before me. Yes, folks, we are continuing on our decades journey, and we have made it to our youth, our childhood, 1993. And I'm gonna be honest, this was another kind of tricky year for us.
Yeah.
Because when you're an 8-year-old in the 90s, you watch a lot more movies than you realize.
Yep, and there are some movies that you just skip over or it just passes you by and you just cannot really understand why you never watched it.
And that's gonna be the case today. We found a gem amongst all of the gems. In 1993, we have selected True Romance.
Betsy, we haven't seen this movie.
Neither one of us, for some bizarre reason, has never watched True Romance.
This movie is on people's lists of like their favorite movie of all time.
That is wild and high praise indeed.
Yeah.
So that being said, Trent, what do you know about True Romance?
Well, the thing that really stands out about it is this was written by Quentin Tarantino, but not directed by him.
No, so this was in between Reservoir Dogs and Pulp Fiction,
Yeah.
where he was getting a lot of things made, but he wasn't making a lot of things. So I know the two stars of this. I know it's Christian Slater and Patricia Arquette.
Yeah.
And you were telling me something about the plot of this because we recently rewatched Pulp Fiction.
Right, it just kind of seems like these two characters are similar to the two characters in the diner at the beginning of Pulp Fiction. Pumpkin and Honey Bunny are their character names.
They're the predecessors to Pulp Fiction, basically.
Yeah.
So in Pulp Fiction, the couple is like low-time criminals.
Yeah.
And I think
They're kind of a Bonnie and Clyde, but a low level Bonnie and Clyde.
I think that's kind of what this couple is. I don't know if they're robbing banks or if they're big heist people, what the situation is.
I think that's what it is. I don't actually know because I know these two are a thing somehow.
Lovers.
I know there's a lot of crime, but like what they do, what they get up to, what the plot is, I don't have a clue.
Do you know anyone else who's in it?
Not to my knowledge. Like, right off the top of my head, I cannot tell you much about this movie.
So I just looked at the IMDb page, so I saw some names, but
you got spoiled.
I got spoiled. I'm gonna be honest, I didn't know until 10 minutes ago that there are people in this movie we're gonna recognize. So yeah, I don't think you and I really know too much about what we're gonna see.
Yeah, and I don't really even know who directed this movie, like how well it did, what the reaction of like critics were, but again, what I know about the movie is what other people have said, that this movie is maybe one of the best movies of the 90s, if not of all time.
It is certainly screaming 90s, which is why we picked it. You're not going to get a more 90s choice than Christian Slater in 93.
Yep.
Quentin Tarantino on the rise, hot young writer and director. Yeah, I think this is gonna be real 90s, so let's get to it, folks. We are gonna go and watch True Romance, and we'll be right back. All right, we're back, and that was 1993. Trent, how are you feeling about True Romance?
I don't care what they say, that was a Tarantino movie through and through. I really like that. Yeah, I just kept on like pulling out all these different things, all these different tropes from the Tarantino movies that we have seen. We've seen all of his movies. I haven't seen Jackie Brown. That's really the only one I haven't seen, I think.
And I believe I have seen all of them, but you've watched them more than me.
Yes.
The only one I've probably seen more than you is Kill Bill Volumes 1 and 2.
Yes, I've only seen the two Kill Bill movies a couple of times. But, you know, his earlier stuff, Reservoir Dogs and Pulp Fiction, I've seen, I don't know, a dozen times or more. But yeah, this movie is Tarantino through and through, down to like the conversations that the characters are having, all the way to the end of the movie where everybody fucking dies. you know?
Well, and I could read little bits of Tarantino in the Clarence character, like when he's ranting to the producer about movies. That's just who Tarantino is. He will find anyone, anytime, and be like, I'm just going to talk to you about movies I love.
I'm going to give my opinion about movies.
Yes,
period.
And I very much believe he is one of those guys that will state it loudly at length.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you were reading that there's a lot of tie-ins to his version of his own View Askew universe. I wonder if there's a word for his universe, because
probably
there's a lot of stuff like Alabama is supposed to have, in another version, gone into business with Mr. White from Reservoir Dogs.
Because in Tarantino's script, Clarence actually dies at the end.
In his version.
And Alabama is a widow. And Alabama goes into a life of crime because, hey, she's already doing it, so why not continue? But yeah, in his script, Alabama is the lone survivor of the entire encounter. And she goes on into doing other things within his universe. And in Reservoir Dogs, one of the, I think it's Mr. White, I can't remember exactly who it was, but they say, yeah, I used to work with a gal named Alabama.
There's little mentions of it, and then somebody has the same last name as another character.
Donowitz. Yeah, Donnie Donowitz.
Okay. Well, isn't Donowitz the name in Inglourious Bastards,
That's
too?
what I'm saying, Donnie Donowitz.
Okay, I'm thinking of... Never mind. I'm thinking of another one. He has a lot of characters called Donnie.
Donnie, yeah.
Yeah, so there's little moments like that. I also liked this movie. We were close. I knew there was crime. I didn't know exactly what the crime was, and it was simpler than that. Basically, she was a call girl.
Yeah.
They fall in love. They get married, in a whirlwind. And then he just kind of decides, because Elvis told him to, that he has to murder her pimp.
And they do not address this Elvis thing at all.
No, there's some weird elements in this where it's just like, yeah, that's something out of his imagination. There's those moments, like if you watch From Dusk Till Dawn, that's the other one where there's just these weird little vignette moments where you're inside Tarantino's character's brain.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like that in this one. Now, I will tell you, I liked this a lot better than From Dusk Till Dawn. That is a whole different beast.
The character is, anyway.
Yeah. But yeah, there's just that moment where he's alone in the bathroom, kind of getting this itch in his brain, and he has to do something about it. And we up to this point are like, who is this guy? Because the first time you see him, he's drunk in a bar, just giving this speech to a random woman.
Yeah, talking about Elvis, much like a Tarantino conversation would go.
Yeah, and setting up the premise for the movie: live fast, die young, and leave behind a beautiful corpse.
Yeah.
And then the next time we see him, he's at a triple feature Sonny Chiba movie marathon. So on his birthday, alone, what could be construed as a really geeky thing to do. And when we go on this date with them, he takes her to where he works, which is a comic book store.
Yeah.
So this is a very strange juxtaposition. And then soon after this, they get married, and he has this like weird psychotic break in the bathroom. Like it's a very jarring back and forth that happens.
It only happens twice. I mean, he's referring to Elvis a whole lot, but the first time Elvis is just there, kind of like the devil on his shoulder, saying, "You're gonna go kill this guy, right? Yeah, you're gonna go kill him because you just can't let that pass.
It's the right thing to do.
Yeah,
you got to take care of it. I like you. Yeah. I always have.
And it's fucking Val Kilmer,
whose face we never see.
Barely. We see him in like the way background.
In the reflection, out of focus.
Yeah, out of focus in the second
The first
shot.
time he shows up, I was like, is that Val Kilmer? Because he's in the credits, but I haven't seen him yet. So if I have anything to say about this movie is you have to keep reminding yourself that this is 1993, because it was extremely jarring to be watching the credits and seeing just heavy hitter after heavy hitter after heavy hitter.
Well, just the opening credits, you have all of these names rolling by. It's like, Jesus Christ, I know all these guys.
But they were all kind of nobodies, apart from Christopher Walken and Dennis Hopper.
Right.
Those two were the guys who had made it. They had already been in these massive celebrated movies, been nominated for Oscars. People knew who these two were. But everybody else, Brad Pitt, a fucking nobody. Gary Oldman, still kind of a nobody. Sam Jackson, a nobody. So it's James Gandolfini.
James Gandolfini, I think, was the one that stuck out to me. Like, Jesus Christ, this is your character from Sopranos.
Eventually.
And maybe that had something to do with him getting cast in that show. I don't know.
Maybe. But, Val Kilmer, like we said, he was a pretty big star.
Sure.
But he's not in this movie very much. Christopher Walken has one scene. Dennis Hopper has two scenes. Mm-hmm. It's very, very weird. And I kept finding it so shocking when these guys show up and then they get fucking murdered within minutes of arriving, because I keep forgetting they weren't famous and they're not the focal point here.
Right. Like, Brad Pitt is a fucking burnout, showing up in like 3 scenes, apparently improvising most of his lines.
That sounds about right for what he's doing.
Yeah, he's just kind of the background guy. Like, who the hell knew who Brad Pitt was in 1993?
Ridley Scott, and now apparently his brother Tony Scott.
Exactly. So he
showed
up.
That is wild.
He showed up in, what was his one of his first roles in Thelma and Louise?
It was certainly the one that he got the most recognition for. I don't think it was his first one, but that was 92.
I was going to say, that came out right before this.
Yeah, so within a year he worked with both Scott brothers.
Yeah.
And then a year later is when he started to get famous. 94 was pretty much the peak for launching Brad Pitt into stardom.
What was that? Was that Interview with the Vampire?
So we had Interview with the Vampire around that time. A River Runs Through It. There's another one. I can't remember the other one, but it's another one of those like romantic, I'm on a horse and I have long hair kind of things.
All right.
It was the stuff he was making in the mid-90s. So that's the cast, which is bonkers. And then you've got Christian Slater at the peak of his fame.
Kinda?
I would say this is pretty well the peak.
I don't know.
Because he was also in Interview with the Vampire.
Was he really?
Later. Yeah.
I haven't seen that, but
we'll get to it.
Christian Slater is a guy that I know his name, and I've seen very few of his movies. Now, we've mentioned on this podcast many times before, I love the movie Hard Rain that came out in like 1997, 98. I can't remember.
I was trying to rack my brain. It's like, what have you seen with...
yeah.
Silly me.
Oh, yeah. That wonderful piece of fiction. I unironically love the movie Hard Rain.
It is a good time. It's absolutely absurd.
I love it. Speaking of a bunch of actors in a movie where nobody knew who they were.
I mean, they kind of did. It was just one of those...
They're on the come up anyway.
In Christian Slater's case for that movie, he was kind of at the peak, starting on the downward turn.
He's on the downward turn if he's taking a movie like that. But you had fucking Morgan Freeman.
True.
Big name.
Fair enough. But you also had Betty White, the queen of comedy.
Fucking A, Betty White is in that movie.
But we're not talking about Hard Rain.
I want to talk about Hard Rain.
We are talking about Christian Slater in 1993 when he was a big fucking deal.
I read a thing in the trivia where apparently when they got on set the first day, Tony Scott and Christian Slater had a difference of opinion on how this character was going to be played. They didn't say how Slater was actually playing it, but Tony Scott said, okay, I want you to leave and I want you to go and watch Taxi Driver and base some of your character on that. And I think that shines through.
And this would help if, Trent, you had seen Taxi Driver.
I know enough about it.
But you know enough.
I know enough
There's
about it.
There's a lot of internal monologues, and everyone's seen the "Are you talking to me" scene.
Yeah.
It's that, and he's even got like the fucking jacket that he runs around in the first part of the movie.
Christian Slater kind of talks kind of outside of himself sometimes.
He does.
That's the only way I know how to describe it.
He's talking, but not necessarily to anybody. He's just sort of monologuing.
Yeah.
And there are people around going, what's with this guy?
Kinda.
But he's interesting. Like, I love just the vibe. This movie has an absolute vibe. Mm-hmm. When the two of them get together and get to California, it's Elvis and rock and roll and rockabilly, and he's got jet black hair and a Hawaiian shirt with Elvis shades.
Yeah.
And they're like picking things up. So like they start in Detroit, but they go through Vegas and they kind of absorb a lot of Vegas and take it with them to California.
Kinda?
It's sort of trashy, but super fun.
But that's the thing, though. Like, if you're going on this whirlwind tour of the U.S. to try to get all the way out to the West Coast, and you are with your new bride, and you want to just fuck every 5 minutes.
In your purple Cadillac.
Yeah! That is the vibe that they were going for here, and they completely nail it. Now, is that all the way paid off? I'm not sure.
You think they could have developed it more?
I would have rather they had more scenes of them on the road and just getting into mischief and maybe trying to call up more people, or I don't know. I just wanted more of that trip.
There were large segments of this movie where they weren't on screen, which is unusual for the kind of movie it is.
And it does that Tarantino thing where it kind of cuts between different scenes, like different groups of people. Like, we have this one scene with Michael Rappaport, his friend Dick.
Where he's introduced, yeah.
Yeah, he's introduced. He's at a casting call for TJ Hooker 2?
Like a reboot of TJ Hooker, yeah.
But with William Shatner also.
Bill Shatner, thank you.
Bill Shatner,
This is very informal now.
Yes.
Also, Christian Slater was in one of the Star Trek movies, but he didn't meet William Shatner. His scene was opposite one of the other characters. Yeah, he's in the 5th one, I think.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Yeah, so going back to like the 80s or early 90s. Just a little nugget for you.
Okay. But yeah, we are introduced to the friend who, at this point, we have no idea who the hell this guy is.
Never seen him.
Not referred to, nothing. But it makes sense later on when he says, I'm going to go and meet my friend Dick.
Dick Ritchie, which is also...
Dick Ritchie. It's a great name.
That is the name that Joe Manganiello has, I think, in Magic Mike. He's called Big Dick Ritchie.
Really?
I'm almost positive that is his name. I didn't fact check that before we started recording. I just remember him being called Big Dick Ritchie. Which, again, we're gonna get to Magic Mike.
We're gonna see Magic Mike.
You are in for a treat.
I don't know when that's going to be, but it's going to happen.
So he shows up out of nowhere, and then we just cut back to the other people. And it's just like, what's happening here?
Yeah.
Or like when we meet Sam Jackson's character.
He's in one scene.
He shows up. He's in this room with Gary Oldman, and I'm going to get to Gary Oldman. And they get gunned down, and that's it? Yeah. And I was like, who the fuck are those people? What is happening?
Doesn't matter.
It's amazing to me actually watching this, how many stills of this movie or clips of this movie, GIFs that have come from this movie that I actually was familiar with. Like, Gary Oldman showed up on screen and went, oh, this is that fucking movie where he looks like that.
Right.
There's the scene where Christopher Walken is interrogating Dennis Hopper and he starts laughing. I've seen that picture of him sitting there laughing, having a great time, looking around this fucking guy. And just the clothes and the style. I am familiar with this movie without ever having seen this.
Yeah, and having no connection to the movie whatsoever. Like I would say all those things that you just said, besides the Christopher Walken thing, I have probably seen as well. I've seen Gary Oldman in his fucking white boy dreads.
All right, we're here.
Oh, no.
Let's talk about Gary Oldman in this movie. So again, they set him up like he's gonna be the central villain of this fucking piece.
Yeah.
And he is in 2 scenes, and then he died. And I was so amazed by this that I didn't really know what was happening, because I have seen that picture of him where he's like white guy Rastafarian.
Yeah.
And he, like, there's a line in here where Patricia Arquette says, well, he thinks he's black.
Right.
And he is doing the most insane vocal thing. Like, he is speaking, I don't know what the word is.
He's imitating a black guy that he's heard before.
He is speaking as a black man.
Yes.
And it is really off-putting because he has naturally kind of this higher tenor, reedy sort of voice.
Kind of nasally in some ways.
And he is like down in the bottom of his throat.
Uh-huh.
I was genuinely like, are they ADRing this whole thing? Because it does not sound like him at all.
It sounded like he was dubbing over his own voice after the fact. But no, that's him on set.
That is just bonkers. If you want to know how Gary Oldman's actually a really, really good actor, just look at this for what he's doing with his voice. Do I love this character? No, I have a lot of feelings about this 30 years removed because it's a white guy who wrote it and it's a white guy who's playing it.
But Betsy, you know who does love this character?
Gary Oldman.
Gary Oldman loves this character because like 10 years ago, he was interviewed by the AFI. You know, the big deal movie outfit.
The American Film Institute, for those who don't know.
That one. He was asked, what is your favorite role? He took some time and he said, okay, I got two. I can't give you one. I got two. The first is playing Lee Harvey Oswald in JFK. And I haven't seen that movie. I can't really speak to that. But his second one is this role. He said he wanted to have a movie in and of itself of this character. That's insane, dude. But you know what? I can see how much he got into this character.
He was having fun.
He was having a great time.
He's insane.
You can tell that he really worked on this character because number one, he knew he was probably not going to be in the entire movie. He knew that.
He read the script. He knows.
Yeah, he knows he's going to die.
He also was not Academy Award winner Gary Oldman in 1993. Right. He was a guy who was kind of known. He was respected. He made some good movies, but he was not a famous man in 1993.
It was also 30 years ago. He's a young guy. He needs money.
Right.
Take any role you can get.
He's going to take this crazy role where he plays a pimp who thinks he's black, who has a scarred eye,
a scarred up face, a clouded up
grill.
Eye. Yeah, I don't know what the hell his teeth were.
I don't know what any of his whole thing was. Because again, we could have an entire podcast, I think, just about that character and how it's kind of problematic, but also isn't? I don't know.
I don't know.
It's the thing about Tarantino where he is just freewheeling the N-word the whole movie.
This one not so bad as his other ones, but I get what you're saying.
There are some specific scenes in particular where they're using the whole being black thing as a very derogatory description.
You're talking about the Sicilian thing.
Yeah, the Sicilian thing.
Yeah.
So let's transition to that character, or those characters, I should say.
That scene, anyway. Yeah.
So you got Christopher Walken, one scene. So this is pre-Pulp Fiction.
Yep.
So it's funny the number of people that ended up from this movie in Pulp Fiction.
It's true. It's also the single scene of Christopher Walken in both movies.
Okay, he's great in this.
He's fantastic in this and in Pulp Fiction.
He shows up as the mob consigliere, I guess is what he is.
Yeah, he says he's the counselor.
The
which
counselor.
He could be a lawyer. Who knows? Doesn't matter.
It's a fancy mob word for I'm going to fuck you up.
They call him Don also.
They did.
Don Vicente or something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah.
But he is there in one scene. I just always forget when I haven't seen him younger in a while.
Yeah.
How musical this man is. He has a theatrical background, and there's just these little movements that he does where he's like punching Dennis Hopper in the face, but he does it with this like tap
with
swing.
The flourish.
There's such a flourish to it. And you were commenting just how skinny he is.
Yeah, he's young and skinny here.
He's not like young, but he would have been like, what, 50? Something like that here?
30 years ago, yeah.
30 years ago. I think he just turned 80, maybe.
I think so, yeah.
That sounds about right. And he's eating the scenery, and he's smiling and laughing, but he's also one of those dudes that just has crazy eyes.
He's got a presence in this room.
Does.
Like, everything is lit in a way where you are only looking at him.
I also loved putting him against Dennis Hopper,
who is also a fucking crazy man.
But that's the thing. I have never seen Dennis Hopper in a role like this, where he is a former cop who's now a security guard who lives in a trailer home by the railroad tracks, and he's just kind of a softie in a weird way. He's just a dad. Like, he really doesn't have a lot of hard edges. He's kind of a goober.
But that's the thing, though. It comes out when he knows that it's over. He's just going to pull out his best story, his best lines, best everything to throw at this other guy who's also giving his best.
So this is a random left turn. is he getting this bravery because he's a recovering alcoholic and after his hand gets cut, they dumped a bunch of liquor on his hand?
No.
It goes straight into his bloodstream and suddenly he grows a pair.
No, I don't get that.
No, I don't really think that's the case, but he does have a very different presence than I've seen him in most movies. Usually he's like, snorting cocaine or screaming from the heavens.
Or playing King Koopa.
Yeah, he is at a 12. And
always.
Here he is not at a 12. And it was just really different to see him more low-key.
I see what you're saying.
Especially opposite Christopher Walken, who usually can play crazy, but I have seen him in more scenarios playing the nice guy.
It's two actors who are keeping a lid on their crazy, and it's about to blow.
Yeah.
And
it's boiling.
Yeah. But as long as we're talking about the scene and the conversation, apparently this is a real conversation he had with a guy who he lived with or was living with him or something like that. Yes, Tarantino. It was some African-American man who was living with him at the time and told him this story and told him about this research that he did. And everything that he's saying is true.
There are nuggets of truth. You don't know your specific family genealogy, but the area was
correct.
Overrun by the Moors. They took over, and guess where they came from?
Exactly.
The part of the world where you're not white.
Yeah. I mean, I understand what he's doing here, and I can understand maybe knowing where he's coming from and the company that he keeps. Your heritage is important, and he doesn't want to be reminded of something that he probably already knows.
Maybe, but it is a great moment in the movie.
Yeah, regardless of what he's actually talking about.
Regardless of the content of the quality and why he's telling him this.
Yeah.
It's the moment where Dennis Hopper becomes more Dennis Hopper, and Christopher Walken he's looking at his guys giggling like, this guy, look at this guy.
This fucking guy.
This fucking guy.
This is the very definition of, you look up this phrase in the dictionary, this fucking guy is Christopher Walken's face.
And he kisses him on the cheek and gives him I love this guy. And then he's so moved by this whole experience, he takes the gun and shoots him.
I haven't shot anybody, or I haven't killed anybody since 1987 or whatever the fuck he says.
84.
Whatever it was.
It's been 9 whole years because he doesn't need to. He's got people for that.
But no, now it's personal. He's going to get his hands dirty.
And this entire scene, you've got James Gandolfini standing there, doesn't say a fucking word.
In shadow, in the background. Again, who the fuck knew who James Gandolfini was?
Guy
Nobody.
On the rise. It was still another, 6-7 years before The Sopranos?
Yeah, I
think it started 98?
99, 2000, yeah.
Yeah, it was late 90s that started. So he still had a few years of doing stuff like this before he was going to be the star.
Yeah.
And he does get more. I was genuinely like, oh my God, is everybody in this movie going to be in one scene and that's it? And
nope.
I would have been amazed if he was in this movie with no lines. But he got credit for it. That would have been fantastic. But no, he shows up and he beats the shit out of Patricia Arquette.
Yes, and that scene was hard to watch.
Listen, that's also a really good scene from when he shows up and he's just in their room. Or even before that, when he goes and talks to Brad Pitt and he's all smiles.
Right.
And he's just like, I'm looking for my friend. Do you know who that is? Yeah, I know who that is, and I know where they are.
I love the running joke of Brad Pitt just telling these gangsters who are barging into his apartment, exactly what they want to know.
He's a California slacker. Everybody's welcome, man. We're all friends here.
You
Smoke a bowl.
You want a hit of this?
He's just like, yeah, I know who that is. And he just smiles and says, thank you.
Yeah.
I might come back.
Right.
Like your friendly neighborhood milkman.
But yeah, you're right. Him just sitting there with his shotgun in his lap.
With a little smile on his face.
And Patricia Arquette just waltzing in, giggling. It's like, I think you got the wrong room. No, my husband is a football player and he'll be back any minute now. And for a second, I kind of thought he was going to buy it.
He was buying it?
I thought he was going to buy it and he was going to leave because, she puts on a performance, let's say.
But she's also got her sunglasses on, and that's the thing that gives her away, is when he gets her to take them off, you can immediately see it in her eyes. The fear, and he sees it, and this is another moment where it just kind of goes to 11 very quickly, because he's like, you're so cute. Give me a little turn. And he punches her in the face.
Yeah.
And then it turns into beating the shit out of her. And you're right. When it goes, it really goes. Like, you see her reach for the corkscrew and you think, oh, she's going to try to like stab him in the neck while he's on the ground opening the merchandise.
Right.
No, she stabs him in the foot because he, with his hubris and his like, oh, I like you. There's a lot of that in this movie.
Right.
I like you, so I'm going to give you a chance here. And she stabs him in the foot. And that just makes him angry.
Right.
You don't do that to big guys unless you know you're going to take them down.
But that's the thing, though. It distracted him away from just shooting her and leaving with the merch.
This is true. She was going to die. She had to do something. Because Christian Slater doesn't show up until it's too late.
Yeah, no, he has to talk to this stranger at the burger stand about Elvis.
Wasting his fucking time.
Also, this guy at the burger stand, I gotta say something. What the hell was he reading? There's a Newsweek article in 1993 about Elvis?
So let's go back to when we watched Elvis. When did he die? The early 70s? Mid 70s?
Mid to late 70s.
So we'll call it 25 years since Elvis died.
Mm-hmm.
Something like that. It's all about like the life, not even 25 years, the life and legacy of this man and the enduring power of Elvis. I think it's just Tarantino waxing philosophically about something he's passionate about.
I get that. I understand the passion behind Elvis. But did you have to put it in here as a distraction for Christian Slater to just bullshit with a guy?
I think it's more, look at what he is doing while his wife is getting her ass kicked.
I realize that, but you could do other things other than pull out this Elvis thing, and it just happens to be a guy who was reading an article with Elvis on the cover when Elvis would not be in any kind of lexicon, unless during that time there was an article in a magazine about him where somebody just did a whole big expose.
I mean, it's the 90s. They were giving like Vegas the resurgence, Elvis, Vegas, the 90s.
Yeah.
There's a whole new generation of people discovering his music 15 years after he died.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's completely unbelievable. I'm just saying it's just weird.
I would be willing to bet it was the anniversary of his death, and so people were talking about it.
Fine.
But that's the whole thing is, why is Elvis so relevant? It's the kind of philosophical question Tarantino likes to pose in his own movies. Mm-hmm. Like, in this movie, it's Elvis. In, Reservoir Dogs, it's tipping. Like, he goes on a tangent about tipping.
And Madonna.
And Madonna.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's always got some little nugget that he wants to talk about. And this movie, it's Elvis. And that's the through line. It doesn't really make much more sense than that, because when you're cutting those scenes between that and his wife being thrown against a wall and choked out, and she's bleeding everywhere.
Thrown into a glass door in the shower,
yeah,
and she's bleeding even more.
And she has to completely take control of her own destiny and, shoves soap in his eyes and then flamethrowers him.
Yeah.
She makes her own hairspray flamethrower.
A second flamethrower in a Tarantino project.
This one much more low budget.
Yep.
Much more.
Jesus. I mean, we keep on talking about all these other Tarantino things, and I wrote down a bunch of them. So, again, like, the movie is what it is. It's another Tarantino movie, and I really liked it. But when you also have things like, okay, Christian Slater is obsessed with hamburgers because after he kills the pimp, he goes and gets burgers and sodas and brings it back. And he says, this is Betsy and I looked at each other.
We were waiting for it.
We're waiting for it. We thought he was going to say, man, this is a tasty burger.
Or some version
or something
thereof.
like that. He doesn't do it.
He's like, that's the best damn thing I've ever tasted. It's
Yeah.
like, aw.
Come on.
I wanted you to do the thing.
Yeah, exactly. It's that from Pulp Fiction, along with Pie. Betsy?
Do they do a lot of pie, Trent?
They do Pie. I believe the Bruce Willis girlfriend, wife person, I don't remember the character's name, but she wants to get pie.
In Pulp Fiction.
In Pulp Fiction, yeah.
Yeah, she does say something about pie.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I mean, it's American fare. It's good classic food.
It's
you can get
diner
you can get it any hour of the day.
It's diner shit. That's the Americana right there.
I fucking love a good piece of pie.
I do too. I love a good diner.
Yeah. Let's go to a diner after this.
No, we're not.
Shut up.
Betsy, it's 10 o'clock at night.
Shut up. We can go to a diner. We're young. We're young and hip.
No, we're not.
No, we're not.
We gotta work tomorrow.
Well, speaking of other Tarantino references, this movie is so loaded with them that if you didn't know he wrote this, you would know he wrote this. Specifically, how the movie opens with a triple feature of old Sonny Chiba movies.
Yep.
Do you know who Sonny Chiba is?
No.
That's Hattori Hanzo from Kill Bill.
Okay.
He got that specific actor to be in a later movie. So the second he said Sonny Chiba, I was like, I know who that is.
Well, and yeah, it's all of the movies that he watched when he was younger. It's that inspired him to be a filmmaker. And later on, if you can actually get these people, especially fucking David Carradine in your fucking movie, you're gonna do whatever you can. You're gonna make a movie in order to get this guy in your movie.
I would love to know throughout this movie, they're watching a lot of random movies that I've never seen and never heard of. Like Anthony Hopkins was in there.
Yeah.
I would love to know what those specific movies are, because I bet they're like weird little movies that only Tarantino has watched.
That's an easy thing to find. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, talking about just other Tarantino movies, I don't think I've ever seen a sex scene in another Tarantino movie. I haven't seen Jackie Brown, so I don't know if there's anything in there. But 13 minutes in, we got a sex scene.
You know, there might be. There were no feet in this.
There were no feet? I credit Tony Scott for that.
Yeah, there would have been some feet if it was
There'd be a lot
Tarantino
of feet.
at the helm.
In this case, it was just Patricia Arquette in her bra, like half the movie.
Yeah, I had the same thought. I have only seen Jackie Brown the once, and I don't quite remember if there's a sex scene. I feel like there might be, but I'm not 100%, so don't quote me to it. But you're right. Otherwise, not. No, some of that is the plot. There's not a lot of couples. There's not a lot of love or desire for love making. It's usually a bunch of dudes talking
about sex.
Talking
actually
about
doing the sex.
Or, shooting guns. There's so many dudes in this movie shooting guns.
Yes. And of course, again, it wouldn't be a Tarantino movie unless everybody at the end dies.
Yep, they have a Mexican standoff and they just all start firing their guns at each other.
Yeah, and in this case, we have like 3 different parties all coming together at the same time.
Well, and a couple people we didn't mention yet in this movie are Chris Penn, coming back from Reservoir Dogs, and Tom Sizemore, who just keeps popping up in these movies we're doing, and I don't even know he's going to be in them. Yeah. This is like number 4. Again, kind of a different role for him. Yes, he's playing a cop, but he's so just like having the time of his fucking life.
He had so much energy in this movie. It was insane.
He's usually really low key and grumbly, and he's a tough guy.
Yeah, kind of gravelly, like the Tom Sizemore type.
Yeah,
no,
and
not
in
this.
He is just like, I love this fucking guy.
This
fucking
guy. Again, this is also set in LA. Tarantino loves LA movies, but you know what? The 1993 LA, you don't see that often. With the smog everywhere,
that looked dirty.
Terrible.
Dirty and gritty, and Mr. Tony Scott was sure to point that out. Like, he picked it up. He could have done this in such a way to hide that. He did not.
No. And of course, this is present day for them anyway.
For when it was made.
I mean, it's just a normal thing. So you wouldn't think to shoot the backgrounds, or you wouldn't shoot like down the street. You were just shooting your actors or shooting the cars that they're driving or stuff like that. You wouldn't think that, okay, this is a part of the character of the city. No, that's just normal for them.
It's just gross.
Yeah.
There's also, people smoking in movie theaters in this one, which is a weird thing to look at now. Anyone smoking anywhere in a 90s. Public place.
Yeah, it's a 90s movie. You're going to have people smoking.
It's just interesting how we have now removed ourselves from it so many decades.
I love it.
We're 20 years removed from that becoming a thing nationally.
Yeah. And it didn't start happening here until
it was a slow burn.
About 15 years ago,
maybe,
where it really started to be enforced. Like, I remember when bars and restaurants banned it, and all of these bars in town started. Not that I went to a bunch of bars, but I hung out with friends who smoked too. We would go to these bars, and they had these little cubbies attached to the side of the bar, and that's where all the people went out in the middle of winter to smoke.
Well, I went to see my sister when she was living in Las Vegas, and they had already enforced it. And she took us to a bar, and there was this unofficial like lingo where if you ordered a glass of water, that was because you were going to put your cigarette out in it. Because they didn't have ashtrays, so what else are they going to do?
Well, they didn't want people walking away with their ashtrays, is the deal.
Maybe that too, but they were like, okay, so you're not supposed to smoke, and we don't want to get written up for letting people smoke, but if you have a glass of water, so that was like we're
going to look the other way.
Yeah, if you ordered a glass of water in the bar, they knew what you were there to do.
Yeah, shit. I grew up with my father smoking. Like, he was a heavy smoker, like 2, 3, 4 packs a day at his peak. Mm-hmm. He has since quit. Like, many, many years ago, he quit. But, I mean, I remember just growing up in the house, in the restaurants, we would always have to sit in the smoking sections, and I hated it. I hated every single time he let up. I got to the point where I got some balls on me, and I threw away his cigarettes once.
You hit him,
I hit him, or I threw him the fuck away. Yeah.
You were so tired of it.
I was tired of it. And I think my mother was also like catching on to my disgust of it. And we started to really push him in that direction. And it wasn't until he was diagnosed with COPD that he finally quit.
Yeah, it almost killed the man. And then he saw the light.
Yeah.
But there was that. There weren't too many other moments that really made this feel dated, though.
Not really.
A couple of the language choices, a couple of the conversations, but I attribute that more to Tarantino than 1993.
I would say, I mean, we've watched a lot of even later 90s movies, and a lot of those terms, let's say, were still used.
Oh, it's weird to see how long some things take to die.
Yeah.
Where we as a society finally were like, stop.
And if you do say him in a movie these days, it's because you're a bad guy.
You are going to die because you deserve it.
Exactly.
All right, well, we're getting near the end here, Trent. So is there anything else you definitely need to talk about before we wrap this up?
Apologies for being all over the place on this movie, because this movie is kind of all over the place. There's one little thing that I laughed at a lot. And it's the scene where Tom Sizemore is talking to Elliot, who is going through the process of, okay, this is how you wear a wire. This is what we want you to say in front of everybody to incriminate the people. And Elliot is just saying, I don't really know. I'm hi, I'm Elliot. I'm from the Boy Scout troop, whatever. And I'm here to sell you some cocaine so we can all go to the jamboree. I just really like that joke.
That was funny. I appreciate that. And all the cops are laughing. Right. And Tom Sizemore, this fucking guy. That's what this is the subtitle for this episode. This fucking guy.
Yep. I don't think we can put that in the description, but we'll find it somewhere.
We'll find a place for it.
But no, that was the last thing I wanted to mention here. All the way through, I want to watch this movie again because I want to see the progression. Now that I know all these characters, I want to see the progression. I want to see the cuts. I want to see maybe pay attention more to the dialogue. Turn the subtitles on, because there was a few different scenes here, especially with Elliot, where they didn't have him mic'd up all that well, and he's kind of muffled. I can't really hear all of the dialogue. That's one thing about the Tarantino movies that I love. It's the dialogue. I'm a fucking dialogue whore. I love it. I love it.
The more they talk, the more you love it.
I love a good talkie.
You don't want to be shown. You want to be told at length with big flowery language.
My favorite movies are movies where it could be two people sitting at a table having a conversation. It's why I love Kevin Smith. It's why I love Tarantino. It's why I love the movie Glengarry Glen Ross, because it's just like four guys in a room bullshitting.
And about nothing. In that movie in particular, it's like, what are we talking about? Are we talking? Are we talking? What are you talking about?
Right.
Like, that's the fucking dialogue, but for some reason it works.
I love that movie.
How I haven't gotten you to so many plays since we've been together, I don't know, because you eat that shit up.
I would love a play, especially if I can be close, because if I can't hear the dialogue, if I'm in a shitty seat or the acoustics are bad, I'm out of there. I don't like it.
All right, old man. I'll get you to your play. I'll give you your little hearing assisted device so you can make sure everybody shuts up so you can hear the dialogue.
And if you could do the thing that they did at A Klingon Christmas Carol and put up the subtitles up on a screen.
Super titles.
Thank you.
Super titles when they're on a big screen and they're above the actors. That's a
right.
super title.
That's right. That's what I want. I want
all times.
I want to go back. I want my neck to be strained while going back and forth.
Also, if anyone around you is ever doing a Klingon Christmas Carol,
go see
worth it. Go see it.
It's fun.
All right. Well, now that we've completely derailed whatever was left of our conversation, we're going to wrap this one up. That is another entry, 1993, into our Decades series. Now, I know that some of you who are listening have to have seen this movie. So,
and have opinions.
Please, we want to hear those opinions. Please email us, neverseenitpod@gmail.com. We did get an email about one of our previous entries from 1973. We got an email from Stephanie. She didn't email us from 1973. She does not have the ability to time travel, but she's...
You don't know that.
Okay, I can't prove it definitively, but she emailed us about American Graffiti. She begins, I watched this last night. It's almost like we triggered her to do that.
Well, it's also on Netflix, so hey.
That helps. It was okay. I have definitely seen better single-day teen movies. Superbad is our American Graffiti for sure.
Fucking A, it is.
Can't Hardly Wait is the 90s version. Wet Hot American Summer is the 80s version. Dazed and Confused is the 70s version.
Yeah, and I didn't think about it in decades-wise. I thought about it in...
the actual generation.
In generation-wise, yeah.
But those are good samples.
I agree.
For those times.
I agree with all of those selections.
All are better than American Graffiti.
Oh, yeah.
I have no idea about the 2010s version. Gen Z evades me.
Same here. I have no idea. I've thought about it a little bit since we did that episode. I've thought more about what movie could have fit into that mold. I have no idea.
We're going to find it. Maybe they don't have it yet.
Well, that decade is already over, so they better find it soon enough.
This generation has no American Graffiti? That would be sad.
I think it's got to be like a YouTube video. It's
we'll
not a
figure
movie.
It out.
It's
we'll
not
figure
a movie.
it out. It's fine. All right, well, going back to the email, she says, this was not a well-lit film. I also just felt like a lot of the characters aren't well-defined, and the ones that are not super likable.
Yeah.
Also, that car race was mega lame. I appreciate them not dragging it out. Drag race.
Dragon.
But damn, that was lame. Yeah, there's no way those two just walked away from that crash unharmed.
No, that is like a 5-ton vehicle made of nothing but steel.
400 tons of metal. The cast was insane. I was surprised to see so many familiar faces. I knew Ron, in parentheses Ronnie, Howard, and Richard Dreyfuss, but not everyone else. The soundtrack was great. Every single scene has a fantastic needle drop. It definitely made me want to put on some early 60s oldies.
Yeah, that's the best part of that movie.
Absolutely. Kurt's motivations don't really make sense. He for sure dodged the draft.
Yeah.
Poor Terry had a hell of a night. He is the McLovin of the movie.
Yeah.
I watched Happiness for Beginners the other day. I liked it. Anywho, love you guys. Superfan Stephanie.
Thank you, Stephanie. I don't know what that movie is. Happiness for Beginners?
I also don't think I know what it is. She watches so many movies that I've never heard of, and I appreciate the references because eventually I might actually go watch some of them.
Stephanie, do you use the algorithm or does the algorithm use you?
Ooh, deep question.
Yeah.
That's the kind of thing we would put if we wrote a movie.
Oh, no.
But we're not going to do that. However, we would love for you to write to us.
Wow.
Whoa, transition. Email us your thoughts. neverseenitpod@gmail.com.
She's getting good at this, guys.
Shut up. I'm on a roll. You can also find us on social media. You can find all those links in the podcast description. Also in that description, you can find a link that you can click and send us $1 whole, and we can bring you more quality fun for your listening pleasure. We would also love very much for you to go to your listening app of choice and rate us 5 stars and give us a review. Tell the people why they should listen to Never Seen It with Betsy and Trent, because that will help us find more listeners like you who has such exquisite taste.
Indeed.
If you haven't already done it, definitely check us out on Spotify because we are trying to still grow our audience over there. And that's it. That's gonna be it. I've said all the things. We've done all the things.
The 90s are over.
The 90s are over. It's time to get to our time, Trent. We are moving to the new millennium. We're going to 2003.
Or is it the Willennium?
Shut up. No, the millennium is over. By the time we get to the movie we are doing, it has long since passed.
Yeah, you're right. 2003, Betsy, is coming up. That's the year that we graduated from high school.
Shut up. Don't tell the people.
Yeah.
It will make me sad.
Yeah, that happened 20 years ago.
The 20th anniversary movie that we will be celebrating will be released soon, and you'll find out all about it
next time.
But that's going to be a secret for a little while. So in the meantime, this has been Never Seen It. I am Betsy.
I am Trent.
And we will see you in the 2000s.
Bye-bye.